And now I'd like to discuss Part C, question number 9, Part C, where we're asked to calculate the number of units that they need to sell in order to have a net income of $14,500 per year if they decide to reduce the selling price of each unit by 11% and variable costs increase by 15%. So in other words, our selling price was originally, let me see now, it was originally $585, but it's going to be reduced by 11%. So what happens when we reduce it by 11%? Well, our new selling price is going to become equal to $585 times 100% minus 11%, or 89%. 89% of the original selling price. So the new selling price now becomes a value of $520.65 per unit. So we now have a reduced selling price. Not only do we have a reduced selling price, but we have an increased variable cost. So our variable costs were originally $140, but they are going to be increased by 15%. So that means that the new variable costs will now become $140 multiplied by 100% plus 15%, or 115%. Now 115% has a decimal value of 1.15. Our new variable costs will increase to $161 per unit. So now we have our new selling price and we have our new variable cost. Let's go back to the income statement. The income statement is going to start off with total sales, and our total sales is going to be equal to our selling price of $520.65 per unit times the number of units. N is the number of units. From that, I'm going to deduct my variable costs, and my variable costs are going to be equal to $161 per unit times the number of units, times N. Well, 520.65 minus 161 leaves you with your gross profit, or your contribution margin per unit. That amounts to a value of $359.65 per unit. So we can fill that in our income statement. So 359.65 times the number of units, times N. From this amount, from our contribution margin, we now can deduct our fixed costs, and there was no suggestion that our fixed costs have been modified. They are still going to be $195,000 per year, so we've got $195,000. You'll notice that I did not put that underneath the volume-related column, and we also have been told that we would like to have a net income generated of $14,500. So $14,500 is my bottom line. Now the fixed costs are subtracted, and so in order to go back up to our gross profit or our contribution margin line, what we need to do is to add these two amounts together. And so adding these two amounts together will give us a value for our contribution margin. It should be $209,500. And now you have an equation. Here it is right here. We can now very easily solve that equation for N, the number of units. N is simply going to be equal to $209,500 divided by $359.65 per unit, which is the contribution margin per unit. That gives you an N value equal to 582.5, or let's round that off to a nearest whole unit. N is equal to 583 units. So we need to sell at least 583 units in order to show a net income of $14,500.